could do that, you can do that as well. But Ocasio is going to speak on behalf of the classes, the valedictorian. As the person is kind of speaking on behalf of the classes. But that's going to be an additional address. But in addition to all that, actually, no, that wasn't mine. That wasn't mine, actually. So put it on. Put it on. Yeah. You might need to turn yours on because you're distracted. You're on text. Then you're on Instagram. You're on Instagram talking about I'm handling business. Yeah, you got no clue. All those aside, I'm really proud of you. An amazing job. Everybody's shocked. Everybody's early. Everybody's doing anything. So I do want to have a couple of minutes with y'all when it's all over too. But just relax. We're going to do this, all right? All right, so we're going to do impact. How do you do like a fucking team? No, not this way, the other way. Come on, you've done this. It's always one that pushes down. There's some more coming. Okay. All right, let's. Much for being here. It's great to see some of you for the first time. It's great to see some of you again. We had one. Raise your hand if you're here for Family Day, first Family Day. Okay, yeah, want to make sure. For those of you that are here for the first time, please raise your hand. I just wanted to say, so welcome. It's an honor to have you here. Today, as you know, is a very special day. It is the graduation for our I.M.P.A.C.T class, not just any I.M.P.A.C.T class, but the founding I.M.P.A.C.T class. So before I call up our executive director, I wanted to. Before I call up our executive director, I just wanted to give you an idea of exactly what it is that what this program was about. So this program was really nuts. Julio is going to talk a bit about what Exodus really is about and just the founding of it. And I just wanted to give context to the program itself. It sort of was born out of this idea that though there's been a spotlight on people who are recently released, oftentimes what's said is, and I just want to be clear, and we're probably politically correct, people have done significant periods of time. A lot of people just lost hope. And they say, if we're going to give money toward this cause, we're not going to give it to people who've done, 10 years plus because it's a lost cause. And so that's what I.M.P.A.C.T is about. I.M.P.A.C.T is about the fact that, first of all, nobody's a lost cause. And that there is always an opportunity for deliverance and for redemption. That's what I.M.P.A.C.T is about. Now, I.M.P.A.C.T stands for immersing motivated participants in academic and career training. It took me the whole program to figure out that. To memorize that. So, well, I got it right. Thank you. So, what we really focused on was, how to get people back. For those of you that I'm sure you've heard of Exodus before, the word Exodus, the symbol of Exodus. Exodus means to exit. To exit from what was to what can be. I promise I'm not going to take it to church. I'm not going to do that. But Exodus is powerful. It's a powerful symbol. And so what the I.M.P.A.C.T program is really about is how do people get their voice back? How do they get their understanding of purpose back? We can talk all day about the resume and the cover letter and all of this other stuff, but if there isn't a true sense that the person knows I have worth, I have purpose, I am special, I am set apart, and there's more for me, then what good is it to talk about all of those superficial things? So, what your fathers, brothers, sons, husbands, friends, loved ones have been doing is for the last 3 months, they have been immersed in an intensive program. And I have to say it's been intensive because I'm intense. So it's things I'm a part of. And they've been wonderful. There was 8 weeks in class, and then after that, some of them went on to internships. We're still waiting to place a couple people. For 8 weeks, we went through all types of things. We did 7 modules right here. everything from financial freedom to education to professional development, life skills, and we talked about everything. And we talked about things that are difficult to talk about. And I've grown through this process, certainly, but I've seen great growth through each person that's been here. All right, so enough of that. Let me call up, first of all, our executive director, Julio Medina. I was a lawyer for a period of time, and then I was a federal prisoner. So I don't want you to let the suit fool you. Earlier this year, I was sitting in somebody's prison. And so the story of impact and exodus is not for me something that's far removed. It's very personal. And so Julio gave me the opportunity to get my voice back. And so I'm deeply grateful to Julio for what he's done. And I just wanted to say that as I called him up, because this work for us is about purpose and passion. This isn't just about, oh, we're just filling out days. As a matter of fact, this is better than any job I can imagine. Without further ado, I want to call up our executive director who's created this program. We're going on 20 years next year. And so, without further ado, Julio Medina.
Good morning. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, family. This is what makes this all worthwhile, watching you all here. And also enduring the many struggles that your loved ones had to go through while they were away. So we just thank you for being here. We thank you for this opportunity to work with you, and hopefully we can continue this process. This doesn't happen in a silo, just with your son or your husband or your uncle. The families have to be involved for this to totally work. So we hope this is the beginning, not the end of our relationship. As they graduate and move into other areas, may this only just be the beginning. So my name is Julio. I'm fortunate enough to be the founder. There were some great people who helped build this program, and some of those people continue to remain in prison. You'll hear a lot about prison and redemption and change and transformation, and I just was a product of some of that. I served 12 years in prison myself, but what I noticed, the goodness in people. We sometimes identify by that worst moment in our lives, right? And it's so hard to escape that worst moment of our lives. But inside, I got to meet and hear people and hear them cry at night when the cell was closed, right? The toughest person, you hear like, wow, what did I do? I got to spend the next 30 years here. I got to spend 20 years here. I have to begin to change my life. Then I noticed people coming back. And we asked ourselves, what can we do about this? So for those who know any research, I put together a little team. We went out to the yard, and I asked people why they come back. And they didn't fit in, couldn't find a job, started getting high, didn't have a place to go. So Exodus encompasses all those things. Exodus encompasses real groundwork that took place in the prison that we were able to bring out here. And it's a great model. And not only because I've helped to shape it, but so many voices are included in this model. This model is open, it's open for everyone, and in particular for you. I'm saying not only the graduates, but the families. Because I always believe the most important thing is family. When I was locked up, quick story, I remember my mother, and for mothers out there who went through all the pain, how do we apologize? I don't think we ever can. I remember 2 incidents that stuck out that said I could never ever bring my mother through this again. So my mother's good. My thing now believes in me. I could do no wrong. And she goes to court, and we're in court. They're reading off the charges. And as they're reading off the charges, you see a turn. As I look back, she turns. And she's turned, she tells my sister, I can't even son hablando. Like, who are they talking about? Because they can't possibly be talking about my son. Right? And the shame that goes along with that I try to rebuild after all those years, right? Because they don't know who that person was. And the second incident was I was in Dannemora. Everybody was watching Escape from Dannemora. I was in Dannemora. So I said CEOs had to be involved. There's no way we're getting out of here. But anybody who was in Clinton, locked, it's such a maximum security prison. But my mother drives up, in the Bronx, she drives up, for many families that travel, 12-hour ride up. And she comes and she has, she put gas in the car and she has like $10. And she leaves me 5 of those $10. And as she's leaving, I call her. When she gets home, I call her the next day. And she says, I got a ticket. And I'm like, Mom, you came up, how'd you get a ticket, She said she got a ticket for driving too slow on the passing lane, because she doesn't drive. And the impact that has, and it sounds, but the impact of that, of a son not being there to help guide or support her mother in the most vulnerable moments was always something that stayed with me. So when I say family, I mean this doesn't happen without us. Our success is embedded in you. So no matter the challenges or whatever that is, know that we cannot do this by ourselves. We cannot, those letters and that visit that you've taken many miles, maybe for some may have not felt appreciated, but trust me, the light of humanity that you bring into those places allows us to move forward. So I just want to, for the families that are here, that have struggled, that have gone through everything that you've gone through, I bow to you, I salute you, and I say thank you. This part of that, so Exodus, I was released. Great people. I wanted to start this program, right? So I kind of ran around and said, how am I gonna do this, right? So I got a job. I finally got a job. Oh my God, this was my passion. Like helping people was what I wanted to do. And I went to a pastor. We were on 104th and Lex, Church of Living Hope. That was our first location. And I talked to the pastor. I said, can I have a little space? And he gave me a space like from here to here to the end of that. That was my office. But you couldn't tell me I wasn't the man. That was my office. And as I'm in this office, I'm trying to get a phone, and I'm trying to just somehow put this organization together. And I remember, don't laugh at me, but I remember this. I said, you got to think it, right, to become it. I think the graduates have learned that in I.M.P.A.C.T, right? You really got to believe that and think it and become it. And Darrell, this is funny because people will call, right? I finally got a phone, and people would call the office. And in this little thing, I would say, hi, Exodus, in my high-pitched voice, like they didn't know who I was. And people were like, can I speak to Julio? And I said, hold on. I'm not crazy, but this was a true story. That was the embarrassing part. Not this, not trying to be good. So, as I did this, I'm still trying to figure out how do we create Exodus. And there were volunteers after volunteers and people that came through the organization that really helped. And I can tell you with that disguised voice, 19 years later, we service about 1,500 people a year. We have this site. We have a wellness program next door. We just have a 10-year lease on the building across the street. So leave, you can look at that big building, and one day, about 4 months from now, it will be open and ready to go. It's a huge community center. Men and women coming home as well. We have a site in Newburgh. We have a site in Poughkeepsie. And we are looking at Albany now to create our, what we call, fifth site. So that high-pitched voice, knowing that something else is greater on the other side, is what allows us to sit here today. And it's definitely by no will of mine. I would have found a shortcut a long time ago. There's no way I would work 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. I know me, I would have found a shortcut. But it's that presence within me that allows us to do this work, and the presence that surrounds that is. So I think as we think about the graduates today, and we think about the work that's still ahead, never becoming that worst moment of your lives. Always understanding how our family stood by us, no matter what it was. How, for me, my mother turned and who are they talking to? Who are they talking about? Because it can't be my son.
that shame we can let go. Because as we give back, as we continue to do this work, we can begin to let that shame go. It cannot paralyze us to move us into the next space that we need to go into. I want to thank I'm kind of the person who could put people together. I'm never the smartest guy in the room. I'm never the smartest person. But I have an opportunity to bring people in the room. And one of the people that made this program a success while I was able to put into the room was Darrell, who you heard from, who opened up. And Darrell took this program single-handedly. Some support, some from Diana. She's doing 12 other things, so I know the support was minimal. We all know that. We all know the support was minimal. But we know our hands is and everything. And knowing that we could rely on someone like Darrell, knowing that every day he put a curriculum together, every day he had attendance, he gave them homework. I was so amazed. I'm like, what? Oh, they got homework. No, this is Darrell went a step further because he believed in them. Whatever challenges they faced, if there was a disagreement, it didn't matter. At the end of the day, Darrell believed in them. A graduate from Morehouse, a graduate from Harvard, Harvard, sorry, I'm getting mixed up. Harvard graduate, he believed in them. And no time did he walk away, and at any point, he could be anywhere else. But he committed himself to making certain that they get everything they can as they traverse through this new world. For this new world that now says, you know what, you're somebody new. We want you to be new. We want you to have these tools. When my man talked about those tools, the tool belt, right? and utilize them. And you each have the opportunity to utilize those tools. You each have the opportunity now, I hope, to go out and create a better world. Right? It doesn't matter our past. It should never paralyze us. I want to say one final thing. This program will be researched. We have a researcher that's coming in and looking at this program. So they're going to ask you questions. They want to know the impact of this program, not only on your life, because the goal would be for the state to replicate this, not only here, but throughout the state, and who knows, maybe one day throughout the country. So when we're talking about a pioneering group, you really are pioneers. Because this is the first time the state has took a chance on us to say, we believe in Exodus and we want to see this program work. So on behalf of Exodus, our board, everybody who had a hand in this, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for all that you've done. I want to thank again the families for coming out. And I hope this is really the beginning of our relationship. I hope this is not the end of our relationship. I want to leave my card for all of you if there's something I could do. If they act up, let me know. If something happens, that's what we're here for as well. We're here for all that. We're not just here for the good and the graduation. Right? There may be a bump that happens. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. We know language. We know how to talk to everyone in the room. And we may be able to get through them a little differently. So please, we're here. We're here of service to you, and if there's anything we can do, feel free to call. Thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you. All right, so thank you, Julio. Julio is definitely kind about this man's vision. It's powerful to have a vision and to birth it forth, and to see how God has really just blessed you as a result of that. And I thank you for this opportunity. I really do, because I always tell Julio this. And this is really for all of us here, that the soil matters as much as the seed. And I think I always had these things on the inside of me, but I didn't necessarily have an environment to sprout out. And that's for all of you, that as you pick your opportunities in life and as you go after things, understand that the seed is important, but palm trees won't grow in Alaska. And for some of us, we're not where we should be in life, and it's not because we don't have greatness on the inside of us, but we're not in an environment, which is both physically and the people we have around us. This is a whole other thing. It's that spirit that he had on the inside of him, that fighter spirit. And that's what I believe, not just is carried through this program, but if you keep that, is what, because that's a winner. It's not about getting knocked out. We've all been knocked down in life. But that fighter spirit in you, and that's why I asked him to speak on behalf of the class. So without further ado, Mr. Ocasio.
Before speaking today, well, first of all, Julio, thank you, for everything that you've done for me and continue to do for me. I appreciate it very much. You put my heart.
You gotta speak up a little bit, brother.
All right, I will. Family, man. I like family. Darrell, after we finished the 8 weeks in I.M.P.A.C.T, I was directed to intern at another internship so that I can build up my resume. It was a good idea. On top of that, I was interviewing, and I don't want to just make this about me. Me being a valedictorian today means that all of us in here are valedictorians, the families, the students, we're all involved in this era. I believe in this day and age now, we're living in an era where the tables are going to be turning for the better, not for the worse. But it's up to us to make it better. It's what you can contribute to the world is going to make that change. It's going to make it matter. So each and every one of us has to have some level and measure of perseverance, focus, commitment, dedication, study, learning, and just moving forward despite the obstacles and challenges that you face in life. That's what I've learned in I.M.P.A.C.T. Now, I.M.P.A.C.T, like Darrell says, stands for immersing motivated participants in academic and career training. And the word that stands out to me the most in those acronyms are immersing. We need to immerse ourselves with what's going on in the world. Because if we don't, then people are just going to do what they want to do and forget about helping those in need. Now, getting back to the internship where I was directed by the Vice President, Diana Ortiz, in the wellness program, she told me and a couple of others, I believe that this internship is a good fit for you guys because it's basically working with the homeless services department. So, to make a long story short, I've obtained already a few certificates. And now Monday, I'll start working with the homeless services department at a facility in the Bronx. So the work pays off. But what I really want to say, just yesterday, I was at the Coalition for Homeless in Fulton Street. And the lady who was making a presentation to the class that I'm in is showing us graphs and statistics about homelessness and mental illnesses and how this is affecting everybody in the city. So I'm very interested in this because, of course, Darrell has told us, Pastor, stay focused and pay attention to what people are saying. But most of all, open up your mind, your heart, and humble yourself to the point where you're being receptive to everything that's coming in. So I'm paying attention, and two things stood out to me the most. When the numbers of homelessness and mental illnesses increased in the city, I understand that those were the time that real estate agents, landlords, and property developers were actually starting construction and gentrification was taking place in the city. So I said, I know this all has to do with that. Wow. So while the lady is giving her presentation, she's mentioning these things. So almost, and I thank Darrell, for that because I'm paying attention to what's being said. Another thing that stood out to me the most was this, is that in these facilities and homeless shelters, especially the ones that take in families and women from domestic violence who have been evicted, it was easier for the people who were single and had no families to go through the application process than the families. So I told the lady at the end when she said, "Oh, who has any questions?" I said, "I didn't see anybody." I said, "I do because everybody wanted to leave." No, I'm not to, put anybody on the spot. But it was almost at the end of the day. But I said, I don't care if everybody want to leave, well, they can leave. I want to ask this lady a couple of questions because she's literally involved in the politics and in the helping out of the families and people who are in need of shelter and a place to stay. And I can see that, that she was sincere in her work, and I commended her, the coalition for the work that they're doing. And I asked her, I said, we know what the problem is. Why hasn't it been fixed? If the problem is that the rents are going up and the property values are going up, and then the people who are working are not getting paid enough money, then that's an easy fix. Forget about focusing on the problem, let's focus on the solution. And she said, you hit the nail right on the head. She said the politicians are ugly. So we need to pay attention to who's in office and who are our representatives. Because if we don't, then what happens is that we get pushed out. It's sad when I see a whole family leaving the city just because they're not able to live up to the standards of what the city, is actually dictating for us to pay. That's the bottom line. So you need to get involved. I'm glad to be working. I think, and lastly, I want to say, Julio, that when I looked at you, every time I see you, you make it look easy. But I see that in your mind, you have a lot of thoughts. And your thoughts are focused on how is it that you can help somebody out in a real concrete and meaningful way. And that all of this pressure that you have inside of you, is something that you don't show, but I know that you're going through it because it's not easy, especially with the politicians and the budgets. But you do your best, and I thank you for that. And I admire you, and I look up to you ever since I was, released in July. I've been out once. I've been participating in Exodus, and Exodus has gotten me to focus on the realities of what goes on in society, and being true to my change and what I want to do in life inspires me and motivates me to want to do better, despite whatever it is that I'm going through in life. And I want my family to be here, of course. If anybody knows Spanish families, my mother's making pasteles. So I said, okay, Mommy, since I didn't help you guayar yesterday, you got it. You inspire me, you motivate me, and I tell you over and over again, every time I see you, I'm always going to be a part of Exodus because I do want to help. Coming in this morning, I saw a book on the table that says helping people out. I said, Darrell, can I have this book? This is right up my alley. They said, well, you can borrow it. I said, well, I don't see anybody wanting it. He said, all right, you can have it. I said, all right, put it over here so nobody takes it. This is mine. But I don't want to take up any more. I don't say anything. He told me, write something down, do something that'll have an impact on the people. But lastly, man, I want to say that let's make an impact in the world individually. All of us have something to contribute to this world uniquely, individually, and let's use that, that ability and that gift from God. God glory to you.
So I would say the future mayor of New York City. Don't be shy.
I was sitting in the chair.
no to one thing that I asked for about this program. That says a lot. Because I've been in positions before where they want you to do the job, but then they have their foot on your neck. They want you to do the work, but then it's like, run everything by me, and I don't think we should do this, I don't think we should do that. You said yes to every single thing. And I think that's partly what made this such a great program. So when I had an idea, when I said, you know what, let's go to the suit store, let's go to the market, let's go into the Empire State, let's go to Times Square and take, go ahead. So I really do appreciate it. I know we went a little over budget, but I really do appreciate that. I really do appreciate that because I think it made it a better program. And Julio, who I think is coming on the stage now, every suit that you see these young men in, these came as a result of, again, the yeses. The yeses. Because I had an idea and I said, can we get suits? I was like, let me rethink putting this guy in this position. You're already talking about, can we, the program hadn't even started. And he said, no, let's do it. We got suits. And then Julio brought in shirts. He brought in his own ties. I did take one. It was for the students. I want to leave you with some words. And that is, go in the direction of the calling that you know is on the inside of you. Nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop. What's the Remy Ma song? Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. I'm being serious though. Nothing can stop you. Let nothing stand in your way. I will tell y'all, she used to have a different ringtone. This one's low, if you can imagine. So don't let, you know, there's this old, I'll call it a quote. Forgetting those things that are behind, I press forward to the mark of the prize of the high call. And forget the past. Don't forget the lessons. That's Paul. Don't forget the lessons. But forget the hurt, the disappointment, the failures, because your whole life is shifted and you have a wonderful, bright future ahead of you. So first is Mr. Ocasio. Yes?
You want to say one thing?
Of course you can.
I just want to say one thing really quick, because I really want to thank you and congratulate you for finishing this. You know, I know when I approached you guys about this, there was life was happening, right? You just came home and said, I got to work, my family, my kids, and all of these things. And it's like, you decided to stop and breathe and do this and commit yourself to it. And so you did it. And thank you for taking a chance on this and for developing and growing with it.
Thank you.
So, congratulations.
All right, so
Okay.
Mr. Ocasio, I want to make sure you can shake their hands too.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much. We're all in this.
And I'm going to give each person, since Ocasio already spoke about it in class, he's put up through it. And he has learned, and he's stubborn, but I'm stubborn. So we got along perfect. I'm proud of the fact that he immediately upon finishing the program kept this positive attitude, went right into an internship. He's actually doing the internship with Ocasio, and has really taken flight there. I've heard a lot of great things. So without further ado, James Johnson, aka Malik. Real sharp there, brother, real sharp.
Like that brown, right?
Hello everyone, my name is James Johnson. I just came home 4 months ago from doing 15 and a half years myself. I got introduced to the Exodus program. I know about Exodus inside, but I was in other programs. I was down in parole one day. The parole officer was harassing me about taking alternative violence program, a drug program, which I didn't think I needed. But it's part of the student. Someone from the Exodus program who works through the parole settings downtown on 40th Street gave me, what do you call it again?
A fly?
No, excuse me. Right. Gave me an opportunity to come here. I came here and I've been with Exodus ever since. I got into I came here for the treatment for alternative violence and for the drug treatment program. However, the first week I was here, I ran into the vice president, which was Diane, and she said that she had a program that she was getting ready to, they was trying to boot up, and I would be someone that I think that would be beneficial for it. Yes, I am grateful, thankful, and blessed.
Yes.
Like Darrell said, I came in, I knew everything. 7 years old, so I've pretty much done it all in life. There's nothing you can tell me, just give me my certificate. Well, let me tell you something. This was a blessing for me. I've always seen myself as doing big things. I've always done many things in my life. I never expected to be around the type of people that they placed me with. I'm talking about from the Secretary of State, Ms. Rosanna Rosado, to Senator, to Assemblymen, District Attorney's Office. These was all the doors that was opened up for all of us that was in this program here. And again, I always seen great things for myself, but I just never seen or imagined having that opportunity in such a short period of time. They have made the transition from prison to here today so smooth for me that I can't see myself doing anything else other than Exodus. But I have to, because I have to survive one type of way or another. Like we call him Papo. Like Papo, I'm in an internship now through Exodus, through Project Renewal, which gave me the opportunity, an 8-week internship, where we just finished up yesterday, 2 weeks in class, and as of Monday, we will be starting working in the shelter system. I do have a vision about homeless shelter. I am in a homeless shelter right now. I was forced there by parole. Well, everything is for a reason. My goal is to be a manager of a shelter because I have firsthand experience in knowing what the people go through there. So if I can make a change in some type of slight way, then I'm willing to do that there. Like I said, I've been in the streets practically my entire life, so you know what I'm talking about. So like Julio said, if I can give myself to the devil, then why can't I give myself to my Creator? And this is where my focus is right now. You know, I'm just a little upset right now because my daughter and my grandson is not here, they're on their way. That's why you see me running in and out. But, you know, again, I feel that I'm blessed. Everything happens for a reason. And this is something that, I mean, if you ever come, I hope you don't, but if you ever come into the shelter system, I hope you come to me. Because you will get everything that you need. And with that, I'm just going to shut it down now because I don't, you know, I'm not a crying type of person, but I feel the tears coming on now, you know what I mean? So again, I'm grateful to Julio. I thank you, Julio. I thank you, Diane. I thank you,
Okay, all right, so this is your energy is phenomenal. Keep that excitement about life and keep that effervescence, because that's really the word that I think about with you, that effervescence, all right? Okay, so come on up, Dennis. I didn't do it.
First and foremost, Julio, I just want to let y'all know, you see this? Check this out. Check this out. That's the energy. Cool.
I appreciate this. Honestly, adjusting to society here was not easy for me, and I think my big sister will take me in. You know, my big sister and my brother-in-law Anthony, and I probably would have been one of the guys bringing the shelter like my brother James. You know, it's not easy. So yes, I get frustrated at times. Right now, I'm next door doing anger management because I still got to work on my anger. And I still feel angry at times, you know, but it's a work in progress. That's because I'm hard on myself. I don't like failing, you know, and I.M.P.A.C.T, you know, I got that chance to actually meet good people, and they became my family. So I always tell my sister, wow, man, the weekend is here. I can't even wait till Monday comes so I can come to Exodus. Because this is my home, my second home, you know, and yeah, just because I.M.P.A.C.T is, you know, like done, and I, you know, congratulate everybody that, you know, is an intern, has a job, and I was frustrated because I'm like, damn, I don't got a job. I'm still like, you know, 2 interviews a day, like, you know, but you know what? I look in the mirror and I say, you know what, it's okay. It's okay if I don't have a job. It's okay, because you know what? I still get to come over here every day and see good people, you know? And
I thought he was leaving that too. Thank you, Bennett. You come a long way. You're going to continue doing that. So the next person definitely has actually just received an award at the holiday party yesterday for most best transition. Most successful transition. And I've seen this growth in him because James not only received an associate's on the inside, but a bachelor's and a master's. Awesome. That's powerful. That's powerful. I immediately noticed in James, one, a commitment to want to do better, a sense of purpose. What I really wanted to work with him more than anything on is what you don't want is your past to keep you from being what you can be in the future. And I've seen him make strides. Now he's working here. That's why I was in the office over there. He's doing things with the youth. I know you said you have to leave a little early to take care of that. So I just want to say, continue going on the track you're going on. Don't stop. Remember what I told you when you said, well, I'm looking for a youth mentor position. I said, no. Director. Because that's what he is. I see it. And I want you to continue on that path. All right? So come on up, James.
He said everything. But I'm going on the lines of what Ocasio was doing. You know, I observe everything. And one of the things that is the youth. I'm here for the youth regardless of what. You know, individuals always tell me, yo, listen, what do you do all day? You know, I wake up, Exodus, go to sleep, Exodus. I'm here all day, and when I leave, I'll go home, take a shower, do a couple of things I have to do, and, you know, I go to sleep. You know, I miss a lot of appointments through the Exodus program or whatever. The times that I do miss, it's like the last notice appointments. And this is like parole appointments and stuff like that they mandated me to go to. But I think that the work that I'm doing here is more mandated than what the mandates that the parole puts on. So when I first came home in July, like Ocasio, after doing 30 years of incarceration, I came out and I said the first place I'm gonna go to is Exodus. Cause I knew Julio from the inside. We have a long history of this, he's doing the work, and every time I see him come in to the facility, that inspires me to do more work because his what do you call that? Everything that he does is we have it on the board. What do you call them boards again?
KPI boards?
Nah, the same thing like this right here. It's on the board. So when we come in, I always read his story, and I'm like, why he don't even got to be coming in here, and he's still doing the work that you would think he's being designated to come in here from his employer, but he is the employee. He's the one that employing everyone, and he's leading by example. And this is, even today, the other day, he came up the stairs. I see him sweeping the stairs. I'm like, come on, man, let me do this. He's like, nah, but that's how that's what I get my energy from. Because when you don't grow too big, whereas you can do the meaningful things that's required for a place that has to be done, he doesn't have to. I'm like that too, and I get that from you. I don't wait for somebody to tell me to do something. When it got to be done, we just do it, and then we find out later, why somebody can sweep the stairs or whatever. But it's okay. But when I came home, I called Julio. I'm like, yo, Julio, and he gave me his, personal number. He said, yo, I'm on, I don't see the program. Like, where you at? I said, I'm in 2271 3rd Avenue. So he was like, but I said, I don't see no 2271. So I don't know if you remember, but I was like, yo, I'm by over here by 3rd Avenue in the Bronx. So he's like, nah, the office is in Manhattan. Because you have a 3rd Avenue in the Bronx and a 3rd Avenue in Manhattan, and I'm like, yo, all right, so I'm on 3rd Avenue, back and forth. I'm like, damn, what exit is that? They told me it was a small little spot. I might miss it if I can. You know what I'm saying? And I'm, but anyway, he told me he was here. So when I came here, a lot of individuals that have known me, my family, and I get to him to come. I know I ain't got that. But, everybody wanted to get, sneakers and whatever. So I'm like, how much a pair of Jordan cost? 200, something. I was like, nah, just get me a suit. Because I'm not going to be around no individuals wearing Jordans. That's my past. So when I first came to Exodus, I came in a suit. And when I came through the door, everyone thought I worked here. So I'm like, nah, I'm about to go do intake. I'm about to become part of, what I'm saying, what Exodus, stands for. So Julio was here the first day I came through. He introduced me to the staff or whatever. The way he extends, and it's him along with the other staff, the way they extend the love to the material that they give us. It's like they don't just give it to us and have us figure it out on our own. And a lot of times we go through that, where individuals just give you something, give you an application, and don't go through every step of the way, because we just come home, and even though we may not look it, we're still struggling through some of the things that we're going through in society for being removed from society for so long. So one of the things that I got out of I.M.P.A.C.T, and it's, it's good because he is who he is, and sometimes you have to figure out who a person is. And we had a little, clash and whatever. It wasn't nothing serious, but it was just two great minds. You know what I'm saying? I want to do this, but he's like, nah, you more than what you want to do. And I'm like, no, I'm not. He's like, yes, you are. So we had to go through that, and what happened is that's the residue of being incarcerated for so long. And I had to take a couple of days off just to wipe that residue off and come back with an open mind. And I'm grateful for the staff, the executive staff, that I spoke to Diana I spoke to Kathleen about the situation that happened, and they gave me the time off because they know what it is, you know what I'm saying, to make this transition, to come out here. And many of us never had the love that we can get from the organization, like I said before, coming up, that we received here. And this is like a refuge to many of us that's coming home, because this is where we want to be at. And even though impact is like a dot, you know, Exodus is like a whole thing. It's like a whole circle, and impact is a part. But however, we are here to regenerate the individuals, because we're going to be leading examples. Like you said, this is the first time this is happening. So we're going to be leading examples. And like Brother James said, we never knew that we was going to be meeting with secretaries of state, district attorneys, and this person and that person, people from organizations, not organizations, but companies that's around the world that's willing to help us. And you know, and the best part about it, they know our background. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to, our background is our strength. You know what I'm saying? Because it makes us credible into the things that we're going to go out and embark on. Because like the brother said, as me, and I'm going to end with this, there's a lot of resources that's out there for the youth. And a lot of times the resources is not reaching them. My passion, as the brother said, I'm gonna be humble about it, but my passion is making sure that these youth get the resources so that they can get a chance, that they don't have to go through a lot of the things that we went through. We don't have to, when I came home, I appreciate you so much that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already here for us. We just got to carry it along. And you know, I thank Julio, Diane, and the executive staff for everything that they have done for me. Darrell, the polishing, and he's told me this morning, he's still like, yo, you gotta get your tie game up. Everything's good, you gotta get your tie game up. Alright, so I'm gonna have, you know, one of these days, we're gonna break, you know, at lunchtime, we're gonna go and get some ties.
Did everybody take their gift card? You didn't take your gift card, did you?
The culture, the whole thing. I was incarcerated for 28 years. 27 3/4, like Diana would say. You know? But the thing is, everything changed for me. The technology, everything. There was no internet when I got arrested. There was none of that. So it was like, man, it was drastically different. So I used to make sure that, you know what, I want to make sure that I'm never late to this program. I want to make sure that I'm always punctual and everything. But at the same time, I was taking advantage, right? You got these computers over there. I don't know how to use them. I was getting frustrated. I was one of the frustrated guys with the laptops and everything. How to do the attachments, the emails and all that stuff. I was like, man, I got to get this thing down. And I took a whole lot of things for granted. You know, my family being the essential part that I took for granted. And all these years, they were there for me. They were supporting me. They went way up to Comstock. And I remember them sitting down in the visit rooms, going to sleep on me, you know, in the visit. But it was tired, you know, it was a long trip. And that stuff hit me, you know, I was like, man, wow, look at this. They doing time with me, you know, and all that time they waited for me. I'm grateful. I got an empty seat right there. I was leaning on it and I was like, man, you know what? I'm thinking there was 3 people, essential people who were there for me all throughout the sentence. It was my mother, my father, and my sister. And I got those 3 seats that I'm sitting there, there's one missing, and it's my father. A month after I got out, my father passed away. That stuff hit me because I'm kind of constantly surrounded by everything about my father. He left me an iPad. He left me a whole bunch of different things. Clothes, excess clothes, and everything. I'm looking at, man, why does my father have things that actually fit me? And then I'm thinking, I'm like, man, how about if he was thinking ahead, you know, and just to leave stuff to me? And that's what I hear constantly from my family. I was like, man, you know, this is a big blessing. So I'm walking around with a lot of things that reflect my father. So I'm hoping to make them proud. I'm hoping that I can be able to reflect something positive and, you know, and productive in society for them, for my father, where he's at. God willing, you know, he sees it. For you guys, I've been working connected to Exodus for a while already. While inside, 3 years, working with Exodus, possibly building Exodus in Greenhaven. And it was a tremendous blessing because I was constantly facilitating those programs, and it constantly connected me to Julio, Diana, and Rosana Rosado. It's a big blessing. So I'm grateful to have that opportunity. I'm grateful that as soon as I come out, straight to Exodus. Yo, they've been a big blessing back then. I'm gonna still continue to be with them, and I'm gonna partake with as much as possible and contribute as much as possible. And God willing, there'll be success. But I thank everybody for coming, and I thank the whole families because, man, you guys are supporting your loved ones and everything. It's a big blessing, man. I'm grateful that I have the family that I have, my little nephews and everything that I didn't have back then. So, and it's a big blessing. Thank you guys.
Always poised, always sitting up straight, always has a kind word, and that says, and I've never seen you come in with a negative attitude.
Never.
And I've never. And I know some of the struggles and obstacles that you're dealing with now. Never a wrong word. And that says a lot. So without further ado, I want to call up Mr. Francis Abunkwa.
Yeah, that's my Nigerian brother.
Thank you all for your time and your support, not only for one person, but for the whole impact. You guys, with your support, make the difference. We might go to somewhere else, they will reject us, but at the end of the day, we can come home knowing the door is open for us. With your support, I pray, we just got home. Sometimes we can still remember the core. It's not easy. Chow time. Count time.
Come on.
It's still a little bit, sometimes it's stick in the head. The way we act sometimes, it's a little bit, but please, we're trying to fit in. It's not easy, but help us with your help, knowing that every morning we can talk to you and smile and come back home is more than anything else. I thank my sister here for all your help. Please, don't worry, it's gonna be okay. It takes time. We came a long way. You expect more, but what we've been through, we also expect you to do more. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy, but please, be with us. Not him alone, but all of us. Brother Medina opened the door for us to come here and change. And we are in the process of changing. Sometimes we have a little bit, our dream is like this. But with this impact, I can tell you the dream has extended. We are not selfish anymore. Before we think about me. But I can guarantee you that the guys that they are impact, they don't think about themselves anymore. You hear all of them. Everybody wants to help somebody. So it's not by us anymore. Because the impact is so intense. Something that you can't do, they want you to do. They want to open your brains and say, this is what you want, you have to think. Think this way, think this way. You are a creator. Figure it out. How you can create. You are not here for yourself, you are here for somebody. You know, if you believe, and that's what I believe in Medina. And I always think about the Bible. If you believe that Christ Jesus came for you, then guess what? You also came for somebody. We all came here for the purpose of somebody to benefit on us. Not for us to benefit on ourselves. No. The impact has transformed us, has changed us to think about how we can serve people. It's not about how we can make the money. We have already made the money. But it's about how we can serve. That is the process we're going through. How can I serve you? That is the process. We have so many brothers behind us that are looking to us that one day, this brother, I was here before. This is what I can do for you. Believe me, I want to help you. And I know and I believe that with the help of excellence, they have given me a tools. So from here, I'll take my tools box with me. So when I step out, I will make that toolbox work for me, and so that somebody can benefit from the tools that they have given me to. That's my purpose. Because everybody needs help. So please, if we make a mistake, just take it like my baby. Come on, don't do that. That's it. At the end of the day, dinner is ready. Then we eat. Then we go to sleep. God bless you all.
And so, you know, when he started this program, he came in a Chris Brown tracksuit. He thought that was professional. You know, he knew it was professional attire. Everybody else is professional attire. He's in a Chris Brown. He said, "But this was made by Chris Brown." I said, "Okay." What does that have to do with anything? It's okay. I've seen just this tremendous growth, and I've seen how he has expanded on his gifts. I'll say this last thing to say, you know that there's improvement because we've gone through this entire program and he has not picked up his phone once. No Instagram, no Facebook, Snapchat. That's Jesus on the inside. Outside. Oh, what a change. So without further ado, come on over.
Extremely thankful we even be here. Big shout out to Chairman Medina, first leader of teams and social around this team. They even let me be here. It was a blessing. I think this is a major blessing. You know, when I first met Darrell, it was a little unorthodox. But I just knew I needed to change. I just moved back to New York and I was stressed. I was like, you know what, I'm looking for a immediate change. And I just left an interview from a hospital. My aunt had got me, and I got there an hour early, and she called me immediately like, it's not gonna happen. And I got up to stop at Metro North down the block, and I called Darrell. I'm like, hey, I think I was just over here in this area. He's like, okay, great. We just started a class. I think we just started like 30 minutes ago. Just come on down. And I came down, and Impact has been major for me. I think one of the key things that always stuck out to me, he said, in order to lead, you have to serve. You have to serve. That always stuck out to me. We had I think maybe it was the third week, and we had a big debate. I think it was one of the deepest talks we had about. He said, "What does your last name mean to you? What does your last name mean to you?" And it made me really think. The stride has definitely been a challenging name. We've been through a lot, and I wanted to be the one to break that generational curse of jail. My brother will be home February. I would love for him to even partake in this program. My father passed 2 years ago from doing 17, and I wish this program was available for me. And just seeing, taking on my brothers, James, Dennis, Ocasio, Francis, Mark, Malik. I'm just truly blessed to learn from all of you, taking it one day at a time, and I know that Exodus will give me the tools to be successful. And big shout out to my mentor, Darrell. He's been extremely blessing to me. Hasn't been hard on me. Yes. Yeah. He's calling me at 7 o'clock. You're not focused. And to even on and off, introducing again, being awarded the opportunity to meet with it's a major blessing. Even going to a few outside things like prison reform. How come every time we go to one of these conventions, no offense to any race or anything of that nature, but we start seeing Asians and Caucasians leading it. And I'm like, well, we're like only 5 minorities here. They're speaking on prison reform. Isn't that like ironic? You know what I mean? And even that opened up my insight to how we can help make a difference and things of that nature. Again, I'm just extremely happy to be here. Thankful for the family, my family who came out, all the families that came out. It definitely ties us all into a circle as a major family. These are all my brothers, and I'm thankful for this. Thank you.
I know we have to thank you all for your time. We also want to thank Friendly Films Productions. Actually had some folks that we were looking at to do the filming, and they had a budget, and a lot of stuff was going with that. And we called Andrew and Marielle because we had the legislative breakfast. And after they said, oh, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, and I'm holding my breath because I know I got to report to Diana and Julio. I said, okay, but how much is it going to cost? Let me sit down first. I don't know, we're just going to do it. That's it. With y'all's stories, there's no telling who else is going to be delivered as a result of this. So I thought this would be a fitting way to end. I wanted to read y'all something. I think this is a fitting way to end, and I think you'll get the point of remember I told you I put together some notes when I was on the inside. And I read some of that to y'all. I remember some of the notes. And this is a piece of it, because this is what helped fuel me, and I think this is going to help. Abraham Lincoln ran for senator in 1954. He lost. He sought the vice presidential nomination in 1856. He lost. In 1858, he ran for Senate again, and again he lost. 2 years later, he was elected president. Jim Carrey was homeless, living in a tent, wrote himself a $10 million check, and promised one day he'd be an A-list actor. His first film, $10 million. Tyler Perry, living in his car when he wrote his first play, today worth over $600 million. J.K. Rowling, single mother, living on welfare when she wrote Harry Potter. Today, she is the first billionaire author. 144 authors turned down Chicken Noodle Soup for the Soul before Jack Canfield fell one to take a chance on him. Now it's a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Dr. Seuss dropped out of the PhD program for literature. 28 publishers passed on his first book. Another publisher said no one will ever take you seriously. By the time of his death, His books have been sold in over 20 languages, over 600 million copies. Henry Ford's first company went bankrupt, so did his second. Nelson Mandela was in prison for 28 years. 4 years later, he was elected president of South Africa. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first media job because they said she was unfit for television. Malcolm X had been a robber, a drug dealer, a pimp before his voice shook this nation. Maya Angelou had been a prostitute. You might not know that. Ludwig van Beethoven wrote Symphony No. 9, one of the most acclaimed musical pieces of all time. He was deaf. The man who was credited with writing over 1/3 of the New Testament, over 13 books, more than any other single writer, was a man who himself had been in prison and killed Christians. John Kennedy was so sick as a child he was given the last rites 4 different times before he was 14 years old. Sarah Breedlove was born into abject poverty. She was an orphan by 14, she was a widow by 20, and she contracted an illness that left her blind. You know her as Sarah Breedlove. History knows her as Madam C.J. Walker, the first self-made woman millionaire in American history. Microsoft was started in a recession. Disney was started in a recession. Over half of the companies on the Dow Jones today were started in a recession. A young man who sold ties at Bloomingdale's quit after he asked his supervisor if he could help design the ties. They said, "You're not here for that, go home." He started his own business. His name is Ralph Lauren. Albert Einstein did not speak until he was 4 years old and couldn't tie his shoes until he was 7. And today he's called the smartest man to have ever lived. What am I saying? Thank you for that. I went very long. This is what I'm trying to say. We are not defined by what may have happened in the past. Great people, it's not that they didn't go through failure, and they didn't go through catastrophe, and they didn't go through crisis. Great people know how to push past it. That's what impact is about. Go out into the world and be great again. Right? Doing in this place, and we just, Lord, we thank you that everyone here is going to have a Joseph story. That even though he was in the prison, and he was in the pit, and he was sold into slavery, and he was betrayed by his brothers, and he was plotting on his scheme, and there was jealousy and envy, that at the end of his life, when it was all said and done, he said, "It was not you that sent me here. It was God that orchestrated the whole thing so that a great deliverance could occur." And we just thank you, Lord, that right now you're doing a great, great work in this place through each of the members of Impact. And that it was aptly named Impact because of the mark that they're going to make on this world that can never be erased. Thank you for what you've done, and we thank you, Lord, for what you're doing, and we thank you for the victory already in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. So we're going to take a picture. So all the Impact, please come up here.
Families will help you.
Which direction we're looking?
You're looking
Which way? Above the head.
Above the head.
Exit.
Yeah.
Woohoo!